We heard about the evils of Obamacare, about the lives it's ruining, and Republican stump speeches and ads paid for by oil magnates, the Koch brothers. But in those tales, turned out to be just that, tales. Stories made up from whole cloth, lies.
I got to tell you, folks, this is Harry Reid, the man who would not bring to the Senate during the shutdown of the government a bill that would have opened the NIH for kids with cancer and said, you know, so what, kids with cancer? I got people who are laid off back at home. This arrogant man who could barely speak, it just makes me sick to listen to him. And now he has the nerve to take on a cancer survivor, a cancer patient is who he's referring to specifically, in addition to all the other cancer patients and parents of sick children and everybody else who are going out of their minds with Obamacare horror stories. And there he is telling America that they're all lies. You know, I don't even know what country we're in anymore, but joining us now is someone who does. Susan Ferrechio, Chief Congressional Correspondent for the Washington Examiner. Welcome back, Susan.
Hi, Steve. How are you?
I'm good. I mean, I can't stomach it anymore. I mean, I can't believe it. He stood there on the floor, and you know, the Koch brothers, and then this is all fabricated from whole cloth. So he said, you know, the mantra is anybody you hear complaining, anybody you hear giving a sob story, that's all it is. It's untrue, and it's paid for by the radical right.
Well, this is, you know what this is about. This is about protecting the integrity, in their view, of this health care law and making sure it's sellable moving forward. I mean, Democrats are in a really dire situation with the law because it, you know, there's so many horror stories. Obviously, they're a dime a dozen right now, and Democrats really are having a hard time dealing with how to explain this. You know, so it's sort of like they have to grasp at, you know, opportunities where they can say, well, this is, you know, fabricated or exaggerated or not really true. I mean, go look on Twitter. It's nonstop, the Twitter battles over, you know, the truth behind these stories about people losing their insurance and losing treatment and losing their doctors. And it's really, in my view, you know, it's really interesting, this story you brought up, Steve, because it's kind of a battle. It's really a battle right now. Who's going to win the public's, you know, perception over whether this law is hurting people?
Well, Susan, not to interrupt, but for months, even, and probably even, you know, the last time you were on, for months I've been saying, even before Reid said this, obviously, I was saying that the Republicans need to pull a little play from the Democrats' book, not to exploit these people, but every time there's a story, every day they should bring forth people from a different state with these horror stories, have the congressmen and the senators there standing next to them from that particular state, and drum home what a disaster this is. Now I think it's more incumbent upon them than ever, in the wake of Harry Reid saying what he said, to do just that.
Well, the thing is, I believe, the reason I don't think that's happening is I think Republicans believe that there will be more people dumped from their current insurance and that their voices will, you know, drown out what the Democrats are saying right now. I think they think the Republicans in some ways are depending on, you know, the other shoe to drop, so to speak, with the health care law. But the reason why that may not happen is the president has moved the goalpost on all this.
Right.
He's changed the law. You know, he's altered the law so that things don't take effect at the same time they would. He's pushed it all off past the 2014 election. So, you know, he's trying to clearly save some Democrats in the upcoming election. But the big question is, of course, beyond that, how will this affect Democrats going into 2016? You know, this is all, you know, they're not playing long ball here. They're looking at 2014 and how can they keep the Senate. There are only 6 seats or so that Republicans need to win. All these Democrats who they're going after in the Senate are quite vulnerable, and they're vulnerable specifically because of the health care law. A lot of them have seen their poll numbers drop drastically. This is about the majority of the Senate. So what you hear Harry Reid talking about today, you have to throw the overlay on top of that he is trying to hold on to his majority. So he's a fighter. You know, he's a former boxer.
Yeah, well,
he's somebody who really is a scrappy political fighter, and that's what you heard him talking about today.
But Susan, I'm not to interrupt, but you know, you notice we didn't hear him talking about the minimum wage because he's postponed a vote on that because he doesn't have the support of his whole caucus, including people like Senator Pryor and others who are up for re-election. And so that, you know, the truth of the matter is that even on that issue, which Obama has made the centerpiece and the Democrats seemingly have made the centerpiece going forward to 2014, the Senate's afraid to take a vote on it.
Well, they don't have the votes on it. There's a lot of disagreement on how much the minimum wage should be raised by, and then you've got people from red states like Mark Pryor, he's an Arkansas senator who's probably the most vulnerable of the bunch there who are up for re-election. He's losing, basically, his race, and he's not supporting an increase. So that's part of the reason why. Now they say they're going to take it up by the end of March, and they're blaming, they're blaming Republicans. It's fairly standard blame game,
right.
Saying Republican obstructionism has slowed down the calendar. But what's funny about Reed Remark yesterday, and I put this in a story I wrote, was that he blamed it on the judges. Now, Republicans were blocking these judges, but the Democrats changed the rules.
Right.
So now if they go through with 51 votes. So it's just funny to hear him say that.
It is,
I was thinking, wait, is he in the wrong year here? Because that's not this year's fight. They already changed the rules. They did the nuclear option. Judges breezed through now. So what on earth is Reed talking about? I mean, it's just all politics. Whenever you listen to these guys, in fact, here we are, what is it, February, almost March. Okay, now listen to Reed as we move into April, May, June, July. You will hear him get more and more political in the way he talks and what he says. And just keep that in mind, your listeners, when you hear people talk from the House and Senate, and they're the leaders, and they're designing and devising the legislation and the agenda, politics is the most important thing behind it, and that's the thing to remember.
All right. Does the term or the words blah, 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 blah mean anything to you?
Right,
John Boehner today talking about the tax reform proposal by the House Ways and Means Committee Chair Dave Camp, and after McConnell yesterday dismissed it, today John Boehner kind of said blah, 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 blah.
Well, that's the problem is that it's 2014, and this is tax reform. Tax reform is impossible any time. It's like immigration reform. You simply can't take it up without dividing everybody on it. Because I was just looking through Camp's plan, and it's got things in it that certainly a lot of people will like, but it's got things in it that people will hate. And so it divides, and it's dangerous for a lot of people. So 2014 is not the year this is going to happen. Camp is on his way out as chairman of House Ways and Means Committee. He's got nothing to lose by pitching this thing forward right now. And as Boehner said, hey, why not have the discussion? He gave the politically safe answer, which is sure, let's have a discussion about this. But realistically, of course it's not going to come. Do you really think they're going to sit and have a debate over tax reform right now? I mean, that's crazy. It's all about everybody trying to win. And the public, what's sad about this is the public will probably really love the tax reform bill right now because the tax code is thousands of pages long and it's just confusing and difficult, and this would broaden the tax base, lower taxes for a lot of people, but there would be losers too. They get rid of some of your mortgage interest deductions, which is very popular, of course, earned income tax credit, which of course is very popular with low and moderate wage workers. So there's all kinds of things in there that he takes out. Loopholes closed, corporate taxes on jets, other loopholes that are popular with people with lots of money. So, it's our winners and losers, and whenever there's a bill like that, then it's hard to get it on the floor.
What do you think finally is going to happen in Arizona, and are you surprised by the fact that the Arizona delegation unanimously has urged, as far as I know, Jan Bruner to veto the bill?
Yeah, no, I'm not surprised at all. I think there was so much pressure on these folks, and it just became over. It hit a tipping point, and now I think, she's under a lot of pressure.
Pressure from who on the McCains of the world? Pressure from who?
Well, I think it's hard to say. They're getting pressure. There's a lot of political pressure, and now she's going to be under pressure from Republicans to do this too. I mean, let's look at here. You've got the threat of not holding the Super Bowl in Arizona.
Right.
You've got Apple, suggesting maybe they won't use Arizona to home base for an important production plan. I mean, this is a big deal. And you also have the Republican Party saying, we don't want to be mired in this discussion right now. We want to win elections, and this is not a winning argument for us. So you have two sides. On the one hand, you have the folks who say, I need to protect my rights as a business owner or my religious freedoms to practice my religious freedom. And then you have on the other side people saying, this is discrimination against people who are gay, and why does the Republican Party want to be caught up with this right now?
Yeah.
And those are the two sides to this, and it's a real tough situation for the governor.
Well, I think she's gonna veto it. I mean, she'll cave to the economic blackmail.
I think she will. I mean, she's a practical-minded person. She's certainly stood her ground on other big issues, on immigration, et cetera. But I do think that the Republican Party is now of the mindset that gay rights issues are something that they should stay clear of in 2014.
Well,
I really do think that
2014, okay, but presidential election, they're going to keep a lot of the base home if they cave on those issues again and think that they can't win.
That may be the case, although, that may be the case. It depends, especially because the younger people who are behind all this are the ones who don't show up to vote anyway.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
you're probably right on that.
Susan, great to talk to you. Thank you very much.
And you, Steve. Thanks a lot.
All right, take care. That's Susan Ferrechio, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Did you hear what Michelle Obama had to say? Oh, you missed it, huh? A little rap going on with the FLOTUS on the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax Television.